Hey, hi everyone, and it's time that the show is starting. And here we
Hello.
have Baza.
Hi, guys. Pleasure
So,
to be here as usual.
so uh, for who is active in our Discord community, uh, we we are not pushing so much weeklies. I know EthOS weeklies are now a meme, but there is a why. Because when your favorite Beatle bros don't share your weeklies, is because there is a lot of things that is happening behind the scene. And so in the last month, uh, there are not kind of like something to share as weekly news because we want to make the EthOS update more for important things. And so uh, we thought was a good idea to start sharing different kind of contents and different kind of interaction from Discord to YouTube to create some kind of more educating contents about the protocol, about what is going on and these things, instead of just update there. And so this format is the first for us development update. So it's kind of like a very deep update in something that is going on behind the scene during our development. Um, and so let's start. It will be very, very fun, and there is a tons of things to share.
Ale, I propose a rebrand. Maybe instead of EthOS Weekly, we can call it EthOS Sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense because it will be sometimes.
Yeah,
Because the problem is that when we don't have to release a lot of things, because we are building things that require time, um, doing weekly just to say, oh, okay, we push the weekly. Uh, I mean, it sounds like something without reducing the importance of our updates. And so we want to make weekly with another name very important updates.
yeah.
But by the way,
Okay.
let's start with the first development update. So I'm excited to share these things. And you, Vaza?
Absolutely, absolutely. Can't
And
wait.
there is a guy who loves you. I know this is not this one because okay, Vaza love you.
I love you guys. I love you too.
Okay, Aletoshi is my Elon Musk. Okay, thank you. I don't know. A lot of people hate Elon Musk in this time, so I don't know if it's a good thing or not. But by the way, let's start. And here we go. This is the first development update. So in this format, we will do a very, very deep development update, and then we will do the MAA. And so there are tons of questions in Discord, which I really like to respond because these time questions are very, very interesting, and I'm very happy to respond to that question. And so let's start. Just give me a moment to change the slide. So today we will talk about our dev goal in the short term. This is most of the things we are doing at the moment. So obviously we are working on Uniswap v3 farming, the DFO up 0.5 deploy, the DFO Hub 0.5 interface and the multiverse, which people that follow us very closely know what multiverse is. All of their factoring of the EthOS interfaces, so item.eth.link, covenants.eth.link, and DFO Hub, using our new framework interfaces, and the unification at some point of the user experience for the entire OS. A new case of study and research we are doing that is not just correlated to item, but is something more, using WebAssembly and on-chain data for front ends, item metadata, and a lot of fancy things, and an item core refactoring. And plus, at the end, something about the aggregator v2 of covenants, and something we call covenants periphery. So let's start from the basics. Let's start with covenants farming contract v version 1.5. Everyone know that Uniswap v3 is based on different curves and different kind of investments opportunity for liquidity. It's very a game changer into the ecosystem. It's more than just an MM. It's more like a real on-chain DEX, more than anything that was before it. And we are very excited for Uniswap v3. Yeah, that's what we said. And so obviously we want to be not just one on the first team that make farming contract for v3, but instead of a contract that I already see a lot of projects that are working on farming contract on top of Uniswap, even the Uniswap guarantee. But we follow a different direction for Covenant farming contract, which we think is more concrete and more pragmatic approach. So farming contract for Covenants, as our regular farming contract in Covenants, they have different setups. And every setup is correlated to one curve. And so when a setup is created, there is only one curve where people can add liquidity. This is why, because communities, projects, they use farming by inflating most of the time their equities, their tokens. And so if you don't have this kind of rule, the problem is that people can, I don't know, farm with general curve and maybe not active curve, which doesn't make sense because it's not liquidity that is important for people to make swaps and to improve the whole liquidity of a project. And so we decided to add one single NFT for every setup, which is way difficult to build rather than just a farming contract where you create your NFT and you put into the farming. But it's very, very cool because it's incredibly cheaper than the regular farming in Uniswap that other projects are building. Because you just add liquidity into a shared NFT. And you don't have to build your own NFT that is equal to each other NFTs and put into the farming contract. And with Covenant farming contract version 1.5, you have also not just the reward management, so you can take the reward anytime you want, but you can also withdraw the trading fees anytime you want. I want to take one moment to explain why a single NFTs into a single or a very little number of NFT is very important for a project on top of Uniswap v3. Uniswap v3 is one of the coolest DApp ever made. It's totally new generation of MM, okay? But the problem of Uniswap v3 is that the more granular is the liquidity. So the more changes in NFT that must be activated and deactivated, the more swap costs. So for communities and for projects, having most of the liquidity into just one NFT can help other people that want to swap cheaper than ever before. And so in our personal view of Uniswap v3, the most clean solution for farming is to share just one NFT and to have as less NFT as possible. So that is why we designed farming contract version 1.5 for Uniswap v3 in Covenants. We are not already upgrading the aggregator because we are waiting for mass adoption of this new generation of MM. But as you saw in the bullet points before, we will talk about it later into this conversation. So this is farming contract version 1.5 for Uniswap v3, and it's coming sooner than you think. Oh, now it's buzzer time. Do you prefer to share your own?
Yes, please. Yes,
okay,
please,
okay.
because I like to move the slides.
Okay, Vaza.
Oh, my turn?
Show time.
Okay. Thank you. At first, I said to Ale if I can took memes in my presentation, and of course he accepted. So thank you, Ale, because I love to talk using memes. I want to start my part of the presentation with the reason why 0.5 is so important. Since we started this project in September or October 2019, we had maybe 2 years of experience in thinking about how to a flexible organization must be done, must be created, and what kind of functions it must have to be the best as possible. And of course, we did a lot of improvements while we were working on that. And at a certain point, we really realized the 0.3. Then we focused on other, let's call side projects, but they are not side projects, something which can improve more the capabilities of the DFOs, decentralized flexible organizations. And we made it Arte and Unify first, that became items and covenants. And we made a lot of experience, and we made a lot of improvements in both our skills and in both the technology we made. At a certain point, we just stopped and figured out what we worked on and what we made. And I think that every developer must do this at a certain point of its development journey, and say, okay, let's see all the map and see what is the state of art. And we just are extremely proud of what we made, but we figured it out that we wanted more, because something was made, for example, the double proxy or the wallet, which are new pieces added to the DFOs, became later, and we proudly were able to install them in without thinking about them before, and it is really a huge goal. And let's just see what we have right now. We have a bunch of components that let everybody can create a decentralized, flexible organization, but they are just built in a well-defined structure. For example, now, if you want to build a DFO, you must have a microservices extension, a wallet extension, a proxy, a stakeholder, proposal manager, and whatever. And this is flexible, as I said, because we added more pieces in time, but the number of pieces must be are mandatory right now. For example, yes, the structure is flexible. You can improve your proposal manager to do, for example, more cheap proposals, okay? But you just can have one proposal manager. Or for example, you can have, I don't know, for example, every DFO has a voting token attached to it, but it just is a particular case of DFO, if we want to say. So all this stuff, when you create a DFO, you will have it because we clone their own DFO Hub original code. You know, DFO Hub is a DFO which clones and creates other DFOs when you want. But all other DFOs has the same structure of the main. You can change it later, okay? But at start, it is the same, or it is a clone of DFO Hub, and then you can manage it. But every organization in the world is different. So this is not the perfection. And we said that at this point, we just collected all this information, and we tried to build the best organization ever made before, using all the track record we made since 2017 until now. And we developed the minimum viable organization. You know, we have the Windows mode and the Apple mode. I organization, which is just pineapple. An organization is just a sequence, a bunch of organization components that are unknowns. They don't know each other. The organization just keeps track of what components it has, but the structure is not fixed. And this is extremely important because, for example, if you don't want a voting token or another stuff, or you want more than a voting token, you can have it. So the structure we are realizing, because here we are not talking about something we need to prepare, we need to develop. We are already developing this in these days, and the flexibility is really improved, because every component doesn't came from a classic prefixed structure. It's agnostic. It doesn't know about any other component. It can know that there are any other components, but it's not necessary. It's not mandatory. So this means that you can pass from a well-known, immutable, but expansible structure on another kind of way to build organization, which are concepts. Concepts. When I say concepts, I'm not talking about philosophy. I'm talking about state of art right now. For example, when we started, the voting token maybe was the best way to do proposals, okay? But now time changes, technology evolves, and we want to make sure we don't know what is the best. We just want to make sure that it can be really easy to have the best experience at the best organization, and to give you the best organization you want, doing and designing on your own way. So you can now realize an organization creating it from scratch without having a prefixed structures, but a lot of factories that will let you create your own organization as you want. In fact, right now, an organization, which is a set of components, is made by the factory, which is linked to components factory. So this means that every user can create factories, which can have factories to create organizations. And do you know how to create factories? Using organizations itself. This is meta modeling programming. Yeah, or meta modeling, mind blowing or meta modeling. They are
mind blowing programming.
Exactly. So a really simple structure. Absolutely. A really simple structure that can be really and easily expanded and morphed as you like. You remember that yesterday, Ale, I sent you the memes of Ditto, the image of Ditto, the Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is because of metamorphing of the entire structure of DFOs. So for example, now, wallet, proposal manager, voting token are just a concept that we have, but we can improve it, for example, to have more type of proposals, more voting tokens, more wallets, and so on, or less wallets, or anything we want. So this is the new organization we are talking about, and this is the new code we are developing right now. And of course, we are working hardly to have the best documentation since start, since beginning, so you can
this time,
and discover everything we are doing while we are doing.
Yeah, sorry, Vaza, but I'm looking for these comments. I look so proud of us. I'm proud of you, Vaza.
Yeah, thank you. I'm proud of you, bro.
Yeah, I love this comment too.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
So yeah, the 0.5, as we said more than one time, for the EthOS ecosystem and for on-chain organization in general, it's the same update, kind of like for Ethereum from ETH1 to ETH2, basically. And so it's so important what is happening to the core, because the design of DFO version 0.3, the actual DFO, it's a very smart but simple design, which was kind of like, okay, it's work, it can be done. And this is the design that people will be able to use to create everything, and especially to share factories and to share code together. And this is so important because building factories for other DFO will be kind of like a new business model for DFOs or for coders, for example. And another things that it isn't mentioned here, but I think is so important, is versioning. And so with the 0.5, every factory can have different versions. And so creators and hosts can push new versions, and other DFOs can choose to upgrade to the new version or remain to the old version in a very simple way. And I think this is so important for all of the ecosystem to grow.
Sorry, bro. Maybe you are going to share your slides because these are mine.
Okay. Sorry, I don't want to. I don't want to steal your slide.
No. Just no. Maybe you are going to.
Yeah.
To
I'm adding my yeah. Okay. So. Okay. Right now, I want to talk about the importance of the R&D from the 0.5 to on. Into the Ethereum ecosystem, there was a moment before the meme bubble that on-chain governance will be highly overrated. For on-chain governance, I mean the idea to just create a DAO to say, okay, we have a token. That most of the time happen like this in the ecosystem, unfortunately, because it's too young. I want to mention to understand what is going on in our R&D and in our vision to reach our goal that is the same from when we put the DFO for the first time into the mainnet of Ethereum. So our goal is to reach a new Ethereum ecosystem, a new Ethereum order, in which anons can build organizations together, can build dApps, and they don't need to trust or know each other. They don't need to trust a Twitter influencer. They need to trust the mats that helps to give them the opportunity to create an on-chain organization. And this is the way that people will have to surpass our current system in a lot of way possible. To achieve this, I think that the last article from Vitalik really explained what are the challenges. They are very, very more difficult and are very, very more important than just say, okay, create a token and doing a casual governance. Because when you really want to achieve a pragmatic anon-based governance, a pragmatic future of governance, you have to keep in mind that anything you do is about making the governance not just a way to build a token, but to make your dApp more efficient for efficiency of the dApp, of the future of the protocol, for the security of the protocol. So in a way that people can't destroy an entire protocol, for example. And into a democratic approach. That democratic approach is very near security, because democratic approach, which means to give the people the right incentives. And the right incentives are the things that defeated some kind of whale problems or big long-term things about the governance of protocol. That can be a way of attack for some people, and it makes sense. And so in this section, I want to explain the way that the DFO from the 0.5 and on are not orchestrated, are designed, the architecture, in a more highly way than the basic architecture that Baza said into the last 3 slides. We call this granular governance. I know that you already read a lot about these things into the EthOS page. But thanks to Vitalik and to his incredibly cool article that I know that you can read it just for blockchains, but I think it's important to read it for on-chain governance in general, for dApps, not just for blockchain as the basic architecture of the internet. We are exactly in the middle. This is the R&D of EthOS about these things. And he explained him very, very better than us. So this is why I want to mention him. But the challenge is the same that we are trying to do. So into the 0.5, the main goal is to replace companies that are owners of contracts, that are owner of the contract of DAOs, that are the owner basically of an entire protocol that you should trust, and make them on-chain. So from the 0.5, the granular governance, which is kind of like one of the coolest things that can transform governance for the next years to come, it will be designed into a two-level: the protocol governance and the decision-making governance. So the protocol governance is the piece of governance that require coding skills. That is the protocol governance. So to not just execute code, but to add and change code, and to build and execute the initialization of sub-DAOs. So sub-DAOs are the decision-making level of governance. And sub-DAOs are incredibly cool because they are very simple decision-making box correlated to a simple thing. That can be a percentage of earning fees for a protocol. That can be an inflationary decision. That can be with survey for some kind of users, or surveillance for a very fast decision making. And they have their own treasury. So what does this mean? That money are not stored into the DFO level in some sub-DAOs design, but they are stored into the sub-DAO level. So the meaning is that the DFO level protocol can update to a new version, a sub-DAO, but it can interact in any way possible to a sub-DAO. So they can just upgrade to a new version, but the money they are stored into the old version, they remain there. And new money that's come from the protocol or earning of the protocol or these things go to the new one. And so this is fantastic because you can start to split the governance power. Another important thing of sub-DAOs is that they have a totally independent governance from the DFO level. So you can build incredible and very simple incentives for the right choice. So for example, you can use the same token as the DFO level. You can use an NFT using items, and you can achieve everything. An example I already did when I talk about these things was kind of like, imagine having Uniswap, and in the Uniswap pool, you have sub-DAO governance for every pool, and with LP pool token, you can vote to change the pool fee, for example, or a lot of different things. And so this is the granular governance we need for the future to achieve this anon-based governance of Ethereum. Oh, here. Oh, sorry. Okay. Another important thing is why these bullet points are very important. Because our R&D is to achieve the pragmatic on-chain companies, ruled by anons without the need to trust an entity or to trust each other. So we really want to achieve that. And we are not okay if the governance of the future will be kind of like, I don't know, vote to put the money into a multi-sig from 3 people you respect to manage the funds, or these things, which is pretty meaningless because we have the incredible security budget that Ethereum has, and we are paying with gas fees every time we do a transaction, and we have this whole amount of security. And this whole amount of security, just use it to trust people. It's crazy. It doesn't make any kind of sense. Why efficiency is so important to reach this goal? because governance must be a way to achieve more efficiency for organizations. And not just to say, oh, it's community driven, bro, so I'm cool. No, it's to realistically achieve something more than just a regular DApp, or just what a regular DApp can achieve. And it is so important that the governance is not able to destroy the entire application for the internet for mere speculation or for these things. Democratic is another important thing, because governance must be granular and expandable to reach the right balance between democracy, meritocracy, and resilience from kind of short-term speculation over these things, or attackers. Governance must be secure and must have a very incredible meritocracy level with an expandable minimalization to reduce off-chain control of the code, and at the same time empower meritocratic on-chain decision making. And these 3 bullet points are very, very important for the future of on-chain organization, with pragmatic on-chain organization. They really are something more for the apps, and not just a way to build a token that in some cases is really happening during this bull run. And I want to finish this presentation about why our R&D and this approach is very important to realistically reach pragmatic on-chain organization. That is a little hint from the 0.6. We are not developing it already, but there is a thing to achieve more and to build more different kind of governance systems. It will be something we call participation history. So there will be a contract that will track and save for different wallets that participate in various governance and things on top of DFO, their history. And what this will mean in a totally anonymous way, that there's not kind of like a profilization of things. But why this is important? Because people will be able to build governance structure that will be not just kind of like tokens, but it will be maybe skill-based if they find the right way to use this data in their governance structure, or participation-based. So the more you participate, the more you do so important in this organization, the more maybe you voting power you have, or different things, or recognize good and bad actor. And so the 0.6 will be added to the ecosystem, this new level of understanding and this new level of things that you can build on top in a totally anonymous way without need to centralize the things into the middle. And other things we are working on, I added to DFO up 0.5.5 because we're not sure we'll be on the day one. It's multiverse. It's another important, incredible things for the ecosystem, for the security of the ecosystem, basically. Because you have an ecosystem after 0.5 that will be kind of like a Minecraft with an entire marketplace of factories, contracts, and things that you can add into your DFO, or you can build new DFO, and you can see how many projects they're using it. But at the DFO level proposal, there is always a thing. So when people propose something, and this thing is a contract, is code, you never have to trust what they wrote, okay, into the proposal. It's bullshit. The only secure thing is code, and it's running this code and try to figure it out what you will achieve with this. And so multiverse will be a very important part of the 0.5 DFO hub. Because with multiverse, you can just one click, fork the Ethereum mainnet, create your multiverse and try the whole application with this new proposal as it was added. And you can see and you can use every wallet. You can call everything for every smart contract, see what will happen in the entire real ecosystem of Ethereum, but in your own universe. And so you can test everything. And this is an incredible way to test dApps during the proposal of coding changes. And there is a nice illustration too, by the way.
Quite strange to see, because it's quite strange to see, because I cannot understand if I'm seeing it not so good. But go on, never mind.
Okay. And this is another interesting thing that we are working on with external teams. The interfaces refactoring. So as you know, we built interfaces, which is one of the coolest way to build interoperable interfaces for the dApps of the future. And the goal for this R&D will be to help interfaces to be more easy to share components between a dApp to another, and to be more open for open source as much as possible, and in the future to automatically generate interfaces if it's possible, but we will see exactly how to reach this goal. The important thing is that we are already refactoring all of the interfaces for the FAO 0.3, covenants, items, and building on top of the interfaces framework. And this will be incredibly cool for our intern coding time, because we realistically earn a lot of time in bug fixing and in developing interfaces. But at the same time, this will help other projects that will use interfaces as a base framework. And there is another thing, that is the interfaces unification. So after the 0.5, we will start this road to unify all of the interfaces of items, covenants, and DFO hub into just one interface, one UX. That will be the EthOS UX. And so people will be able to touch with their hand all of the interoperability from this operating system, and how it's work all of these dApps together. Oh, it's your turn, Vaza.
Okay. Well, as we said, we are working on a lot of stuff linked to the 0.5, but of course we are thinking more, and we are trying to imagine what will be the future we will face. And one of the sure thing is that Ethereum 2.0 will have the Ethereum WebAssembly virtual machine. WebAssembly is an amazing engine which can unify any kind of browser application and run any kind of application, including high performances video games, into your browser. And it collects a lot of programming languages that can be used to program in a, how can I say, merged way between them. So for example, you can write something in Python and let it communicate with something written in Rust, just in your browser. And there is a team that is working on EWASM to bring WebAssembly into the Ethereum virtual machine, to replace the Ethereum virtual machine, the actual one. So what this means that you have a universal engine and universal tools and more languages than Solidity, because you can write your you can write your smart contracts using several languages, including Rust, Python, Java, C#, etc. And this will bring a lot of developers, and it will be more easy to develop. And so the ecosystem will grow more. And we want to give our advice and to make our part in this new revolution. In fact, we are now experimenting, searching, and trying and researching on how an Ethereum node can have rendering capabilities to display applications within the code saved into the smart contracts. So we are imagining to create a bunch of APIs that an Ethereum node, the Ethereum 2.0 node, can have to render not only web pages, but any kind of application, including, for example, video games, directly saved on chain in components, reusable components. So not a lot of space will be used, and to recompose in the browser to be to have finally the front end directly on chain and in a modularized way. And we are working on this right now. We are searching on this.
Yeah. People into the Ethereum ecosystem are highly undervaluate the importance of these things. Because it will be more and more important to don't rely on third party, even if it's distributed. And Ethereum 2.0 will be amazing in general, and this is just a part of what E 2.0 will be and will be able to achieve. And this will be not just for front-end coding, but it will be for items. Imagine using this to have real NFTs with on-chain metadata in a very cheaper way than you can ever imagine. We was one of the first team that tried to solve this goal two years and a half ago by Robe. It was an experiment that we are also using something from this experiment into DFO Hub for the security of contracts. And in the beginning, the ecosystem was not so ready for this kind of transformation of how we use NFTs and how we use items on top of Ethereum. But in the last month, we see another project that are trying to save data and to elaborate data more than save in this case on chain and not from EPFS and things. And so we take this as a huge challenge because we already have a lot of experience in this, and it's the right moment to do this. And so this is a thing that for the next years will be so important. And we are also in items trying to figure it out how to make items as cheaper as possible and as more reliable as possible with something we call virtualization. But we will talk in another moment. Because it's too early right now. Let's talk about covenants. Let's talk about what will happen into the ecosystem of AMMs and DeFi after Uniswap v3. Because people didn't figure it out how Uniswap v3 is so powerful. Uniswap v3 is not an AMM. Uniswap v3 is a different kind of application. It is 10 years after the classic AMM. And so for the aggregator v2, that will be released after the 0.5, we designed kind of like a two-generation system. So AMM Gen 1, AMM Generation 2. The AMM Generation 1 is similar to what you already saw into Covenant, so the classic AMM aggregator. The AMM Generation 2 is the aggregators for something that will come from the V3 to on. And most of the MM you are seeing that they are launching their V2 are Gen 1 because they are not evolved as the Uniswap V3. And there is other things, which I think is the most, I cannot say, awesome, amazing, interesting fact. We started to have this kind of idea. If was possible to have a liquidity pool shared between multi-MMs, and so something like an MM builder where people can create their own MM with different rules and things, but sharing the same liquidity, which this is the most important thing for a DeFi, because having a lot of MMs with not connected liquidity is kind of like meaningless into the ecosystem. It's just bad for people that want to swap, and it's just a chaos. Especially you're not secure you're not sure from hacking for the next cool MM, the next cool curve, the next cool sushi swap, I don't know, elephant swap, dodge swap, every swap, Millennium Falcon swap,
Vasa swap,
Vasa power swap, exactly. But we found a way to build this. We found a way to build this thanks to Uniswap v3. Because one thing that is pretty cool for the Uniswap v3 is peripheries. And so with Covenant, you will be able to build your own MM. We don't need to write code and things and attach it into an organization. So the idea is that every organization will have their own MM just because it's easy to do. And all of these MMs, they are not the next fork of Uniswap. They share the same liquidity as Uniswap, and they use the same liquidity as Uniswap v3. And when you build this MM on top of Uniswap v3, you can set how you want that people will use the core, swap fees, if you want to add some peg tokens for your periphery, if you want that people can add liquidity into different curve ratio and not use all of the ratio like v3, you can build Uniswap v2 on top of v3, or you can build curve on top of Uniswap v3. And if you want that people will have fungible items or non-fungible liquidity pool tokens and everything, but sharing the same liquidity, which means that if you have a project, you can just create your own MM with your, I don't know, all tokens pegged with your token just because you can, and just because it's not a problem, because your liquidity is not just in your MM and nobody use. Your liquidity is into Uniswap, and you share liquidity with them, and your user will share liquidity with all of Uniswap v3. And this is so important for the DeFi ecosystem. And obviously, using Covenant peripheries, your MM you're building is automatically listing into the MM aggregator because they share the same basics. And so on top of your MM, you have automatically farming contracts, inflation contracts, all of the fancy things of Covenants, future things that are coming like derivatives, arbitrage, and more. And this is Covenant's Peripheries. So guys, this is what we are building behind the scene. I know that a lot of people say, oh, they don't share news because we have a lot of work to do. And remember that every time your bidder bros don't share weekly news is because very cool things are happening, and we are just waiting the right time and the right moment in the developing to share more information as possible and to release the product. Baza, you want to say something?
Nothing, man. So exciting. A lot of work is going on, and we are so excited to do this.
Okay, and remember that 0.5 and beyond will be about unification. More info soon. So this is a presentation of our development update. I hope you like it. I hope you like everything that is going on in our R&D, because we are working very hard to build the things and to make this thing as fast as well as amazing as possible. But right now, Vaza, it's time for the MAA. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
You share the screen?
Yeah, just give me a moment. Okay. Share screen. Here. And here we go. Okay. So it's time for the MAA. And it's time to see what bidders are saying, are asking, by the way. So let's start with Bert. I've always wondered about a DFO governed frontend. Currently, I host them on a decentralized network and govern the .eth redirect. Is there anything planning that will be let me host and govern frontend of Ethereum? Yeah, obviously there is the ENS integration, so you can send your ENS and voting to change the EPFS link right now into the 0.3. But as you see, there are a lot of plans to reduce the need of EPFS, and especially adding more kind of like a flexible vote into front-end things based on what we are trying to achieving into on-chain front-end things. You, Asa, want to add something?
No, it's okay.
Since EPFS and hardware are third-party dependencies, it seems like having the entire app, backend plus frontend on Ethereum, would be the best solution altogether. Any plans to do something like this? Okay, we have already replied to this.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, bidder bros are connected with us without knowing what's going on, because a lot of questions that are totally amazing. They are exactly what we showed before.
We have spies inside.
For me, it's Goku. For you, what's emoji? What's your emoji, Asa?
Goku to me. Okay, Goku.
Two Gokus.
Yes.
Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay. When will the farming contract be updated to UniV3? And you can describe what sort of user options, if any, we can expect along with their own version sliding fee scale. Yeah. the basic of the question is already spoken at the beginning, but I think it's pretty interesting that project can make kind of like different setups with different reward system based on how the curve is bigger or less. So maybe with more reward for a bigger curve, which is more secure for the entire project because it's more difficult that a big curve can go uh, um, out of price, so not active. And there are less and less impermanent losses because for tokens that are not stable, the impermanent losses for small curves are incredibly high. You can lose a lot of money. And maybe a more risky curve with less reward, but plus trading fees. And so project can start to do their trading things on top of this in the way that things will be better. Reaction?
Do we have a farmer? I think
A
yes.
farmer? No, we don't have a farmer, but
You sure?
we have this
Okay.
one from Minecraft.
Okay.
Okay, and
Yeah.
mine
You too. Same icon again. Okay.
and mine is coughing. In the future, do you see a need for traditional off-chain companies to become on-chain organization, but to retain their centralized power structure? For example, as small businesses as their customer wallet and the voting system for each employees. I mean, yeah. So everything on top of Ethereum is for new kind of startups that are trying to be on-chain and on and all of these things, and for all kind of startups. But I think as Ethereum itself, the most important things to reach the new world and the whole uh, and the old world is to build the base system, to build everything on top of these things, and trying to achieving the biggest challenge possible for the decentralization and for anons and these things. Because if you have the most flexible, PowerShip, secure structure that even people can build on-chain companies as an anon, so this is the best structure to build a company that is already off-chain too. It's kind of like a verticalization. So we are building the basics, and maybe other people can use the protocol to build different verticalization for different case of use, like is Ethereum itself, basically. So Ethereum is the base layer, and dApps are the verticalization to the end users. Power?
Well, man, I think that where the off-chain world is mixed with the on-chain ones, it is really rare to see something that can work. So yeah, of
That's
course,
real.
off-chain companies can be traveled and open an on-chain company, but what about their businesses? Can they be brought to the blockchain if the business is 100% digital? Maybe yes, in some cases. But if there is not a digital part in the business, I think that it cannot be a good idea. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm skeptical too for these things, but
Yeah.
I mean, there is a way of possibility to do things. Obviously, off-chain things that try to connect with the blockchain, they must be regulated as securities, and they must have all of these things for their own government to run, because this is so important. So your customer security things, but I see a future for this, but in a very long run. So in my personal opinion, there will be like a wave of startups that are on chain and they use all of the things that the blockchain can do and you couldn't do in the cloud, for example. And then
Yes.
when the Web3 will be the standard web that people use, we will see regular companies that comes in. But for now, I don't see. I don't want to be hated into the ecosystem, but I don't see real case of use for kind of like all the companies. There are a lot of case of use, sorry, but tangible case of use as bigger as new startups that use this technology like us, Uniswap, and these things to build something that was unachievable before. So I prefer these things from the other way. By the way, for Navy, I put a ditto. What's your choice, Baza?
I chosen the ice.
Yeah,
Ice. I put it the
ice.
ice. Yeah.
This one. You mean this one?
Yeah.
This is Diamond. You don't play Minecraft, bro.
Okay.
What updates can you and the team share on the version
V.5.
0.5? I think we shared a lot of updates today. And so you can put back this video and start from the beginning. And I think we shared a lot of amazing things tonight. How does the team plans on marketing to outside developer and Solidity Builder once the 0.5 launches? Will it be via sub-DAOs? I'm curious to learn more about how teams plans to empowering outside developer to come in play and build with the tools that will be presented. Will it be organic, word of mouth through the community, or will it be a major push a la Bilderberg and other speaking events? I can say two things. The first one, there are a lot of projects that are waiting at 0.5 to switch to DFO, as much as I know. I don't want to say names, but this is real. And for technical reason and for regulatory reason too. And I think during a bull market is not the best way to reach developers in general, because there is too much casual developers and entrepreneurs during this time. So right after the bull run would be the best moment, because there are really Ethereans there and not just casual entrepreneurs. That's my personal point of view. But I think the simplicity of the 0.5 will be a huge aggregator for coders, and the marketplace of factories will be another huge aggregator for coders, because just build factory for other DFOs that your DFOs and other can use is just a business model. And so this will open a bunch of an incredible developing there with the right incentives. And obviously, we will try to talk about EthOS and things with as much as possible with real project and real core project that we really respect, and hoping them to become a DFO. But the main strategy is to start from the basic things and to create the best environment for developers, the most secure, the best experience, and the best way to be focused on your application, and having all of the ecosystem of EthOS that works around you for everything you need, from DeFi, from objects on top of Ethereum, and from the organizational part of an organization. So you should be focused on the project and not on other things. Vaza?
Well, yeah, the simplicity of the new structure will help. And since start, we are making a huge work with all the other member of the teams, all the other members of the team, to involve the most people as we can and try to have the best way to communicate to other developers what we are working on. And I think that it will be a so useful tool that people want to use it. So it will be more easy than now to develop and to attract more developers to build applications with it.
Yeah, totally agree with you, bro. So I think a Pokeball is my vote. What's your?
Pokeball. I will add the reaction by myself. I will.
No, I'm giving a reaction for you too.
Okay. Pikachu. Okay.
Pika. Oh, given Vitalik recently noted that optimal governance structure for newer project is founder dictatorship with decentralization benefiting more later stage project, which is make sense. Has this been taken into consideration during the development? Yeah, the challenge is not to have kind of like the total democratization of governance since the beginning of a project, but to dealing with step-by-step decentralization of granular kind of governance. And it's a huge step to research, development, and to find the right way to do this in any way possible. And I think it will be so important because if you start with EthOS, the organization is the base layer of your application. Before you deploy first the organization and then building step by step the whole part of the application. It's not the contrary. It's not having an application that just works and okay, attached it, or building a token with the DAO just to have something to sell during the bull run. So if you want to achieve the goal of Anon-based on-chain governance, you should really work on this, on the granularity of things, and to sharing the governance step by step during the development. I think it's so important. Given Covenant seems more like of a bootstrapping tool. Sorry. As a realization like that, this has been into consideration during the development, marketing, and targeting Ether newer establishing projects. Yeah. Given Covenant seems like more of a bootstrapping tool, could you give some thought on where you think the project as a whole fit in best, compared maybe where certain pieces of project fit in best? I didn't get this.
Me neither.
Covenant is the core of Covenant is the IMM aggregator, and so imagine having a organization of the future. You have to connect this organization with finance, because finance is on the core of organizations. Okay, even in the real world, the organization of Facebook is more for the financial things rather than the management of financial things, and so financial tools are very important, and especially secure financial tools, and especially a project. I mean, if we want a real adoption, a real future of Ethereum, we don't need to see project as just the last new speculation of token, but real application that create businesses, that create values, and the finance of the project itself is not the project itself, but the value they create with their own business, with their own logic, with their own invention, is the real value added, not the speculation around it. And with covenants, it's so easy to have and to use every cool financial things on top of multi-MMs. And so every organization or even DAO or even just regular guy can bootstrap their farming, inflation, and more financial tools in a very simple way without need to code and to rebuild from scratch. Baza?
I think that you told everything. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that Covenants right now is the project we made with more futures, with more active futures and heterogeneous futures. We have, of course, the WSD, the farming, the fixed inflation, the indexes.
Yeah,
We
there
have
are
a lot
tons
of
of
stuff.
things. There are tons
Yeah.
of things.
And they share a kind of a common soul, which is, of course, the IMM aggregator. And yeah, I think that more will come. If the can't wait to see what will happen in the future. Not only on what we are working on, but even on what other people will invent in all this time we are working on our stuff to increment more features.
Yeah, sure.
Really curious. Really curious.
I gave him Warrior.
I give him. Let's see the item icon on a question about covenants. I don't know why.
Just because we are creative and
Exactly.
artists.
Exactly.
Going off this as well, will there be approaches, documentation, guidance for existing DAOs who want to on-ramp into DFOs? Yeah, sure. Sure, it will be.
Definitely.
Yeah, it will be. How many people are on the EthOS dev teams as now? We are growing very, very fast, and we are right now with internal core, with external teams that we are working on together. We are kind of like 50, 20 people, at least. And we are reaching more people step by step. And you will have a cool things, and you will see a cool things into the next month after 0.5. I mean, Vaza, the first public dragon tournament.
Can't wait, man.
Yeah, you will see. So what we can...
For me, watermelon.
Watermelon?
I have it right here. I will put it by myself. 3, 2, 1, go. Watermelon, yeah.
But why you say watermelon?
I chose it. I don't know why. I have it into the quick choose, the quick icon choose. I don't know why.
Okay. But I thought about our memes, not external.
I don't know where he came from.
Okay. So let's pick watermelon.
Okay.
And I'm picking this one. Another question for Bert. I saw a video of Vitalik talking about on-chain governance and expressing a few issues he had on on-chain governance structure. An issue we also saw in the same way as Vitalik, especially things like large token holders, not participation in governance, etc. Give the others large holder even more voting power. Since Vitalik himself hasn't gone with on-chain governance yet, do you think EthOS is something that can change or fix the concern he expressed? No, his concerns are totally right, and we are going in the same direction in our R&D. And um, if you go backward into this video, you can have all of the explanation about the why. Baza?
We already talked about this, so everything was valid.
Pepe?
Pepe for you and for me, Dodgy.
Doge.
Yeah, this one. Okay.
Okay, the video that is the same that he shared last
Mhm.
day. There is my reply for this video. And very thank you, Bert, to share these things. There is a conversation from me and Bert. Isolating. What kind of attack vector do you think there will be in the governance when the 1.0 transition happens? Are you planning to defeat against them? We are already far from the 0.1. Okay. You see all of the bigger things that is coming to the 0.5, and you will see how everything will change with the 0.6. And so we are trying to reach a 1.0 without that people can realistically create on-chain governances without any kind of actor vector. But it's not just something that all of the solutions are planned by us right now, but will be a bunch of research about people that will experiment things on top. And all of these things together will fix this kind of problems. Power?
Maybe, yeah, okay, Aku Aku.
Aquaku for you?
Yeah.
It's the same as I wanted. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I forgot
No,
this.
I
No,
will
Aquaku
do
for
it
you.
by myself. And
And
for
for
me,
me,
I can
okay.
choose them by myself.
I don't know. It's more show driven, doing together. I put the
Okay.
Nokia. Uh, can you give a brief update of the status of SSJ now that its liquidity pair USD is no longer supported by your team and when the Rapid USD emotion? The Rapid USD emotion is already there, by the way. The SSJ was an airdrop for testing, and it was the first ever made item. So we don't support the developing of what is happening with his own DFO from the beginning. And we hope that people will use this and we try to build something into this DFO with the first ever item created. And so we are watching what is happening there and to see what people try to build there. The same for Cell and the same for Frieza. Yeah. Another question is, Vitalik recent article was amazing and obviously super validating of the big question you both have been asking this whole time. Have you ever gotten this thought feedback on this project?
Again?
So, no, I never talked with Vitalik about DFO, personally.
Me neither.
But I will be so happy to do it because since I was in Ethereum, most of the thing that Vitalik said are very similar to my point of view and my thought too. And so having a conversation with Vitalik will be one of the most awesome things that can happen into the future for me, for example. Is kind of like the person I respect the most into the ecosystem. So for you, as a power?
Well, you know, man, I am more interested on the technical part, but I don't think that actually Vitalik is the person of the ecosystem involved in that. So I would like to talk with a more, for example, with the developers which are going to developing the EWASM virtual machine, which can be an interesting conversation on that.
Yeah, we should be active there in the future.
Yeah, for me, Vitalik,
Yeah,
the classical.
they make perfect
You
sense.
know, I think that we never thought that this emoji was our first loader in the
Yeah,
very first version of the DFO front
yeah,
end.
yeah. I
We
remember
used
that.
the,
It was so funny.
we used that emoji as a loader when you are going to develop a DFO on the very
It
first front end.
when you are waiting for the execution of the function, because it was so funny, because Vitalik with a huge Ethereum thing here that do
Yeah, just thinking.
kind of like waiting in a very weird way. It was
Yeah,
pretty cool, pretty fun.
yeah.
Where is my dragon? I don't know.
In the
Where is
chain,
where? It's here.
exactly. Here, near to me.
Or you are a dragon. You are hiding your dragon.
Maybe. Powers.
Yeah. Walkabout. Love you.
Llama. Green llama for me.
For you a llama and for me a pickle. Where is llama?
Near coughing.
Okay, here llama. Okay. Who designed the website? Love, love, love it. Vale Mostro is our art director. And let's see some questions from YouTube and some fancy comments. On-chain front end, you say. It's not flexible enough, Vaza.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, man. I know there are too many components. Two is enough. Is not enough. There must be 0 components.
A lot of people love multiverse things.
Yeah, multiverse is my favorite project too. I was dreaming about it. I wanted it with all my energy, and more stuff will come for multiverse. Keep an eye on it.
Okay. So, guys, I think we talked for 1 hour and a half, and
Oh my god!
so remember the last phrase that after 0.5 everything is about unification. And see you next.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the people working with us.
There will be some upgrade like this in the next week. So how can I say? I'm more sleepy than ever before. I have to go to bed.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. I forgot this word. Stay tuned. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
How cringe an ending can be.